Firstly, it's an honor to be co-creating this book with each and one of you here, with all the contributors. And I feel like the interviews that we had, and I think Claudiu and I, we had a couple of interviews, and what we captured within the book is something very, profound about my journey. And yeah, like a lot of information about my work with the 70 Actuarial Council of Light. So just to start introducing myself, my name is Livia Devi, and my mission on planet Earth with the 70 Actuarial Council of Light, which is an interdimensional civilization, is to activate New Earth leaders in their divine soul mission. And it's an honor to be here on Earth doing this work in a such open way, seeing people evolving their consciousness and being more open day by day in finding more of who they are and embodying more awareness, more consciousness, and shifting their lives and anchoring them into a more grounded way in physical reality. And, our work here is a co-creative experience with every person on planet Earth. And, we like to see so many beautiful souls like you guys, the ones that are part of this co-creative experience of this book, but also people that will read these interviews and they will find so much information. And, it's a book that contains so much data for their guiding path. And I'm excited because as I, looked a little bit, I didn't read everything. I found such a profound information from different angles of consciousness, and we are all bringing our unique signature, our unique contribution to this incredible co-creation. And I feel like, this book is marking like a big moment when people are more and more ready nowadays to receive information, science-based and consciousness-based, and, ancient history, and, to unify all this into one. And this is what I like at the light within the mind is the unification and the unity consciousness that is bringing through different angles. And yes, very excited to be part of this, very honored to be opening as a first chapter. And I think it was very courageous from your side, Claudio, to put my chapter first, knowing my work with the 70 Actuarian Council of Light is not usual right now. It's not mainstream. Yeah, it's not something that people know what we are talking about, when we start speaking about dimensions. But I like that this book will reach people that maybe are not awakened, they don't have the vocabulary, the terminology, the understanding, but it's going to offer to them a perspective, and it's going to open up so much of their heart consciousness and their curiosity to receive something different. So thank you for having me. It's an honor. And I'm excited for our community to be promoting the book even more. I feel like the journey is just starting now that it's launched, and we are looking forward to be sharing it more and more with the world. So thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you very much. And I really, again, as I mentioned before, I appreciate your effort, and I like to shock people. That's why your chapter is first. And if they pass the first one, then I know they will be able to go through the whole book. So thank you very much. Much love.
That's a good filter indeed.
Exactly.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. And I know, as I said at the beginning, if you want to drop off because it's 1:30 where you are right now, we understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Many blessings.
Bye. The next one, because Lars is not here, he's in Denmark, and it's hard for him to join. The next one on the list is Lorraine Schneider. And I had an interview with a troublemaker called Kathy Mason this week, and we discussed every single one of you. And she asked me, what was your criteria for choosing the contributors, especially on the psychology side. And I mentioned to her that I was looking for those experts and professionals who are bringing new technologies and new approaches into their work. And Laureen is one of them. And we'll talk later about David, how David brings something else from shamanism into his work. So, Laureen, you have the floor, please. You unmute yourself.
Oh, no, I'm interested to hear what you and Kathy talked about, as troublemakers. Um, I am so honored to be here among all of you. And Claudiu, I've said this before, you do the deepest interview I've ever had. It was amazing to capture so much to go to so many different places in our conversation. And I just reread it and I'm still just blown away. So I started in 1983. Two strangers, 2 weeks apart, handed me divination tools, and they both said the same thing, which is you're supposed to walk with them. And I had no idea what I was being handed. I just read a quote that said, "Wanderer, there is no path. It's by walking that the path is made." And that was my experience. I walked into a conventional school for marriage and family therapy with the tarot in one pocket and the I Ching in the other, having no idea what these tools were. And I did not study the tarot tradition. I simply began to experiment with what would happen if I applied psychotherapy, including hypnotherapy, family systems, archetypal psychology, to playing with the cards. So on the one hand, I was getting my master's and I was getting licensed as a psychotherapist, and I was keeping that separate from my therapy practice, which were people coming word of mouth, because I really didn't want my license to be burned at the stake, metaphorically speaking. And so people would come and I would have these profound experiences where in one session, I would ask people to choose from a variety of decks, and it was like handing the psyche or soul a vast color palette to create a portrait of itself. And it's an interactive process, so it lays the unconscious on the table. But what I was blown away by is the synchronicities, that the images that someone would pick out of a particular deck randomly would be an exact portrait of what was going on for them. And it was so specific that I've had people jump back from the table and say, "This is so weird." So in one session, it would get to the heart of the issue that would take months to years of psychotherapy. And I was so inspired each time that I couldn't stop. So it didn't matter how many rolled eyes I was getting. I couldn't stop. And it's that inspiration that I really believe we're all leaning into. And it is that inspiration that to me is that spark of the divine. And it grabbed hold of me and it would not let me go. I couldn't let it go. And I apprenticed myself to this over the last 40 years. And it taught me bit by bit depth psychotherapy. I wasn't trained originally as a depth psychotherapist. Psyche teaches us, consciousness teaches us. And I think we just need to be curious and stay open to it as we are opening up so many dimensions of consciousness now. And it's just about being open to it. I'm just so excited to be with all of you and that Claudiu is launching this book, because I really do believe that the upheavals, chaos, shifts that we're all experiencing is really a consciousness change that's happening. And that we're at the cutting edge of helping people to navigate the uncertainty by helping to understand that there's a consciousness being born that is so much larger. So I don't know what more to say. I love being interviewed. It's a lot easier to answer questions.
Thank you, Laureen. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for participating and promoting the book. And this could also be a tool for every single one of you to give it to your clients. And I'll follow up in an email and I'll explain to you how you can do that. So thank you very much for bringing new tools into your profession and at the same time doing this type of necessary healing.
I do want to say one other thing, which is that the fields are changing because in 2014, I got the Board of Behavioral Science to accept therapy as a modality of psychotherapy. So I'm a board approved provider of continuing education credits doing therapy. And now tarot and psychology is trending. So I'm sure many of us can relate to this, that the world is shifting so dramatically that what used to be closed to me is wide open.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And to those who are watching us online, please ask any questions to the existing participants. Again, they are all part of the Light Within the Mind. And for those who are going to ask meaningful questions and good questions, I have a surprise for you. You'll receive something from me. So shut it off. So I know Matt, he is in the house. How are you, my friend, my brother? You have the floor, and please don't go overboard more than 5 minutes.
Oh my God. Hi, let's just jump right in, shall we? Hello, everybody. First of all, thank you to Claudiu for putting this together. You know, he's the last person that would ever say this, but without him, none of us would be here. And that's a really important thing to anchor. This movement needs mavens, people who are capable of bringing people together. And looking at all the people in the frames here, I can tell that we are all cats of the same cloth, meaning we're not really easily organized. So, right? So, really quickly about me, 2 minutes left. I'm a clairvoyant and a journey guide, and I've worked all over the world. And I'm basically head of something called Spirit Walker, which is a way to entrain psychics and intuitives to help them kind of get their chops and do good in the world. So that's what I do. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Okay.
Sorry. And Matt is going all over the world shooting his own documentary. And disclaimer, we both sat in several sacred plant medicine ceremonies, so we shared some powerful energies over the years. So yes, he's an amazing soul. Thank you, brother.
I've got your back.
Now, two amazing souls, David and Vivica from Tenerife. You have the floor. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and the upcoming trip to Kenya to shoot another documentary or a documentary about your own journey. Please go ahead. You are on mute, David.
Sorry, my apologies.
You were speechless.
I was speechless. So thank you, Claudiu, and thank you everyone for being here with us too. So the way that who we are is that we are a single stream of consciousness, and we carry the codes of creation as part of who we are. And we are able to share that with others through presence. We have memories of being some of the first souls, some of the very first souls that came to Gaia when life was beginning to form on the surface, and memories of being those beings that participated in co-creating that life. So you can see that the name of that we refer to ourselves as the Eden Temple, and it began first as the Eden Temple, which is the codes, and the Eden Temple is what happens when you internalize it and you embody it. And what we often in conversation refer to as what's coming, that the next version of Earth, New Earth, that is what is historically referred to as the Garden of Eden, and that's the externalization of that consciousness.
This is externalization of this Eden state of consciousness within us. So our body literally becoming this temple of light for this state of consciousness, and we all, with you, co-creating to create this Garden of Eden. And this is such a honor and such a joy to be here with all these co-creators. And thank you so much, Claudiu. Your interviews is always so deep, as other already told about. And you are the most deepest, one of the most deepest people who we ever met.
And as Claudiu mentioned, we are getting ready to go to Africa. We're leaving next week, and we're going to begin to make we're going to make a documentary on our mirrored journey as a single stream of consciousness. So I was called to go to Kenya in December of 2018. And at that time, it was initiated. I experienced a full body Kundalini awakening that was almost instantaneous. And even though we didn't know each other at the time, we had no awareness of each other, she experienced the same thing. And later on, in subsequent journeys to Kenya, I was also inducted as the first ever white person within the Seer Society of Mount Kenya, and am now the 13th seer. And those of you that understand about 13s were the one that, to begin with, break everything wide open and
outside of boxes.
and then began to assist in reorganizing it at a higher level. So it's everything that has happened to me has happened to her at the exact same moment, and everything that's happened to her is it's reciprocal. So, and we're not in any box that you can think of. Whatever it is that you think we are, that's not it. It's beyond, 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 beyond. And we have an awareness of it, and that's part of what the documentary will be. Not only documenting the shared journey that we have mirrored with each other, but also what is forming, what we feel and what we see is coming for all of us, because as has been mentioned, this is the moment, this is the awakening, and it is happening. And yes, people need assistance. So as with all of us, we're all here to share.
And as part of our service, we helping people to remember themselves as this infinite field of unconditional love, and overcome all these conditions, all these our mind limitations that we put to ourselves. So, and as this word already tells you, unconditional love, to overcome all these conditions and release all these conditions. So to help maintain this total freedom, which is the Garden of Eden.
Thank you, Viveka. Thank you, David. And yes, you are the champions of interviews on Spiritual Inspired. I think about 4 interviews so far. And I'm sure we'll do more after you come back from Kenya. And now our angel in residence, Rachel, please.
Hi, everyone. Oh, Claudiu, my brother, it's so nice to see you and see your spirit. Hello, everyone. Well, first, can I just be a little kid inside and say thank you so much for remembering me and including me in your party and in your book.
My pleasure.
I'm elated. Well, as all of you, I enjoy this life in this beautiful, tailored costume that I created pre-life, as all of you did. And when I was 4 years old, I was with my beautiful, perfect family, and we were in a car accident, and I had my first near-death experience. And on the other side, I was taken to the angelic realm and was remembered. I was told that I was an angel incarnate from the seraphim realm. I had already been in communion with Source and angelic beings, extraterrestrials, the gamut, as many young children are. And then on the other side, I heard a grown-up voice. It was this voice, my consciousness, along with my 4-year-old self. And we navigated that field trip, and I began to regain my memories. And the rest of my life has been navigating how to be an angel incarnate and how to help the people of this earth humbly awaken with me as peers, as we all are. And I'm so thankful to be able to be here at this time, both as a human, as a mama, as a wife, all of the things. I've been a school teacher, a singer, I've been to seminary, all of the things that I thought would match. And yet there is no label that we need. We're just essence, aren't we? We're just here walking with each other. And so I'm so excited to be here amongst you, because something that I noticed when I was reading the book this week is that fundamentally all of these different ways of speaking the same heart messages and the same themes that come so fluently through our consciousness and through Source, we all have these amazing ways of saying them and teaching them. And when people have this beautiful tool in their hands, they will all find their nugget, their teachable moment that will resonate within them. And the other thing that I noticed that was quite profound for me is that I often find in my own meditations that I have this feeling of comfort that will remind me of my own biological family, who I love so much. And and yet it feels more expansive, as if I think, who are they? What's that feeling? And I know that that feeling, that energy are made of community and family that I know from beyond this realm, that I've known before. And it's people in this meeting, it's people that are listening to this call. And I'm not doing this to be an entertainer. I'm saying I appreciate the connection that Claudiu, you have brought together in all of us, because I'm just going to say, I don't think this is our first rodeo together. We've combined our ideas together before, and I'm thankful that we have found this summit again, and we're doing this. I'm grateful. And I'm so happy that I've been able to learn some things through your field of vision, all of you, because you've taught me something. So thanks so much. Everybody, go out and get this book. I'm just going to do it for Claudiu because he's not going to do it. I'm going to be sales pitchy. Get the book because it's life-changing. Just do it. Spoil yourself. I'm done.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you very much. And yes, I think this is the moment, if everyone has the copy, their own copy, so we can take a screenshot later on. Davy,
Yes.
do you have your copy? Ajita,
Put it up.
please, Ajita, go get your copy. Matt, you don't have yours? Ah,
That's okay.
I think
You're
it's
handsome.
enough. Okay, thank you very much. It's fine. And yes, based on what Rachel said, I do consider myself like a hub, putting people together, connecting among each other, because you know your value, you know what you are bringing to this world. And I am humble to know every single one of you and learn from you And I consider this to be something that belongs to all of us and belongs to those who will purchase it. I just put it together. It just happened to be me. This guy, Claudiu, but could have been someone else. And I'm thankful for those who gave me the idea and God, and who else the energies gave me the idea to start this type of project. Now I want to move along and give the floor to Kathy, who also was dropped off to the wrong family many, many years ago. This is how she put it. And now she's trying to correct that thing by bringing her energy and knowledge to the wall. Kathy, please go ahead.
Mm. Well, thank you, everyone. It's wonderful to see everyone after seeing their names. This is putting a face with a name is fabulous. And I want to tell you, David, that I was running around before because the cat that loves you wouldn't leave me alone because it knew you were on. And after I've got fur all over me. So anyway,
I'm well aware, Kathy. I understood the moment that you
you saw me.
with her.
Yeah, she wouldn't stop screaming until she was in my lap and heard your voice. You're in Vivica's voice.
And
So anyway,
everyone needs to understand this. I've spent time at Kathy's house. She brought me there to Colorado to teach. The cat would have nothing to do with me the entire time.
Here also all neighbors' cat loves David. So
but she
surrounded with
loves
cats all the
him.
time.
Now she can't get enough of it.
Yeah, and serious. It was serious. But
Yeah.
anyway, thank you.
Get back to business.
Back to business. Okay. I am very excited about this whole opportunity to get together with new people because I've been doing interviews like Claudiu for 7 years. I've had the great benefit of living in Boulder, Colorado, and I'm friends with the people that started Gaia. And so I get to be around just amazing people all the time. And that's where I started my interviews, was just my friends. The people that you would, I don't want to name drop, but you would know some of them. And so I started doing this as a service to conscious leaders, servant leaders who don't have the time because they spend so much time providing goods and services for their clients and loving on their employees, that they don't have time to find resources like all of you. And so I'm a constant learner, so I get to meet you, learn about what you do, and also provide that as a service for people that don't have the time. And so that's how Claudio and I met. Is I wanted to do I think I found you and wanted to do a summit together. So that's how this all started. And I'm very quiet about my superpowers. I don't usually use them unless I'm told to use them. I've been doing work that I call soul illumination readings that are part of marketing for 26 years with a select group of people that I'm told to get out in the world. And so when Claudio interviewed me as a sort of, I'll do your interview if you do mine, he asked me in the middle of my interview to do it. And so it was one of the first, I'm getting chills. It's one of the first times I actually came out of the closet in public. I've only done it a little bit. And I think I'm supposed to help more people. So I really appreciate the kick in the you know where to getting more visible. So anyway, and this is a great resources book for people that are just learning about all the different ways that consciousness can dance with us. It's so beautiful, Claudiu. That's why in the interview I said, how did you pick? How did you ever pick? I mean, that was a divine download right there.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you very much. And yes, we did an amazing summit together. And when you did that reading for me live during the interview, it was interesting. I mean, it scared me a little bit when you started asking me, do you channel? And I said, no. Do you do this? And I said, no. I pretty much answered no to every single question. And now everything is coming to fruition because of the work I've been doing since almost 2 years ago. And I have to come out of the closet very soon. I was told, otherwise I'm going to be slapped. So, you know.
Well, I don't think there's a consequence like that, but it is the juicy part of life. When you connect to your soul and what your soul really wanted to do in this reality, you're on fire. I mean, it's just so much better. So
yeah, Matt, you want to say something?
Just really quick, drafting on something Kathy said. The notion of coming out is very resonant, because like I'm sure you guys have similar approaches to this, where it's like, guess I got to tell people, and so I'm with you on that. I feel like there's kind of like, how the hell do I talk about this? Like, how do I? So we did this reading and these angels showed up and then they were telling you these things and they ended up being true later. And by the way, this is your passed over mother who's here, who is giving you this message. Remember that thing you hid under the bed? Well, inside that box, like you get into these places. And I just wanted to say really quickly that what Kathy said is very resonant because I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely getting this sense that we're leading like wolves lead. Like the alpha wolf will lead from the back, right? With their eye on the whole pack. There's that whole story about how they returned the wolves to Yellowstone and it kind of reset the biome, right? And when wolves are moving across the countryside, the alpha will remain in the back and watch everybody and take care of everything. And I feel like that is very much resonant. Like, again, Kathy, you got me. Like, we just met and we're gonna be best friends now, and like all that stuff.
Well, see, that's what I love about what we do, what Claudiu's doing, what I do. I own a full service marketing company. So I've been in the background helping a lot of Hay House authors get out over all these years, but I didn't really ever let them know the alchemy I was doing on their behalf. Because that isn't me. I can be the cheerleader behind them and plant the seeds. So just like with Claudiu, plant the seeds but I don't have to be the face. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Ajita, you are next. Please introduce yourself. You're on mute. You're on mute, Ajita. You're on mute. Yes.
Hi, thank you, Claudio. Want to say hello to everybody here. I've heard some of the stories, and it's just amazing to me because we're doing stuff that back when I started, nobody had ever heard of, dared to speak of, and the only people that ever did that were in garb, priests or monks, and and if you didn't fit into that. I hid myself my whole life because before I get into my story, I do want to first start by saying I met Claudio pretty well by chance. We were in the same group briefly, and we were in Toronto, and so I thought it would be great for the two of us to get together. And we quickly became friends, and we have lot in common. What I love about both his books is really he's taken all of the time that he has spent with amazing people and their amazing stories, and put them into a document like this, where anybody who reads it realizes the incredible number of alternatives that are now available in terms of healing, in terms of increasing consciousness, in terms of just so much of a wider world, it opens up. I personally had my first experience when I was 4, which was quite a long time ago. I bumped into an extraterrestrial being that showed up in my room when I was 4. And, without getting into long stories, I wasn't afraid. And, there was a relationship that developed. And from there, always a lot of comfort working with energy, and having this very deep intention that nobody should suffer. So people who were my parents' friends who would come over, and how adults talk and they share the difficulties they're having. And if I ever overheard something, I just had this deep intention that that problem should be solved. And I guess I was working with energy. I was too young to really realize that, but subsequently I realized that I had some contribution in shifting some of those energies. And then I started to play with it more and more, became much more intentional. But I come from a family of medical doctors, and education's important. So, I went to university, and then instead of becoming a doctor that required too much studies and I just couldn't do it, I got into psychology, and I studied psychology, finished my master's, and I came out and started my practice, with this whole gusto that, at 22, 23, I'm going to change the world. And I suddenly realized, firstly, that I didn't probably know enough, or it was the wrong time for my soul to step out into that role. And I also began to realize that, and I say this with due respect to everybody who's in the field of psychology, that there was a little bit more than just working with the mind and the brain in terms of personal development and healing. And so I went down this whole, my own evolutionary journey. I was studying interior design. We've done a lot of other things while I was coming into my being. And then I came full on as an energy healer at one point. I didn't have any names for what I do because I don't believe this is an invention. It is just something that I was born with. It is there everywhere. But people will keep asking me, what do you do? What is it called? What do you do? So I decided to give it a name, and I call it Omnisource Healing, because it is everywhere. It is from source. And I work one-on-one with people. I work in groups with people, any kind of suffering that, an individual's facing in their life. I try and work with them so that it can be alleviated. And there is this whole spiritual counseling aspect to it, so there's consciousness development. So that's sort of the short of what I do.
Thank you, Ajita, for everything you do. You also have your own group, weekly group, where you teach people how to, improve themselves, increase their level of consciousness. Thank you. And next, I want to invite maybe the youngest member of this compilation, Sarah. She's bubbling with energy. You are on mute, Sarah. Yes. Thank
I'm
you.
not on mute anymore. Can you hear me though?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. And you labeled my chapter 13th, which was really interesting numerically because that's all about rebirth. And I was like, oh, this is perfect because what I talk about really is I share pieces of my personal awakening journey, what shaped me really from a very young age, having encounters myself, deep inner knowings. I'm very intuitive. I have a lot of clair tendencies. And I knew that I wasn't here for a normal path because no matter what I did, I never fit into a normal path and I just kind of accepted it. And this is where I had like spiritual and cosmic encounters that slowly just guided me into remembering who I truly was and then why I came to Earth at this time. And from childhood, I mean, I think I speak amongst all of us. We all felt a little bit different on why we're here. And I sensed energy. I saw patterns, pattern recognition. I saw timelines in ways that I couldn't personally explain because I felt them. And it was a different type of visionary aspect that I had. And as I got older, those experiences they intensified through more of intuitive downloads. I had several spiritual awakenings, dark nights of the soul, and those are really moments in my life that fully made me step into my purpose instead of hiding from it because no matter what I did, it was just put in my pathway. And over time, I feel like I personally realized that my path wasn't just about personal growth at that time, it was about helping other people remember their own origins because I did the background work. Why not take it a step further? Because everybody else is lost and I feel it and their energy is affecting me. So why don't I try to help everybody else out as well? And so I want to help people discover their origins and their own missions because it's not going to be like mine. My own connection to something is different than the next person's perception and the timeline that they're on. But I want them to see the greater surface beyond what they actually see with their own physical eyes. If they can't intuitively sense it, it's my service to the world, I guess. But I want to begin by saying just very heartfeltly that I want to thank you, Claudio, for having me in such a powerful book. It really truly means so much to be a part of this project. I didn't know that it was going to blow up so well, but this is a piece of literature that people can tangibly take with them and pass on to the next person. It's loaded with so much different information on many different topics, and it's all centered around awakening and consciousness expansion and the truth, which is really hard to come by. So thank you just for giving me the space to people who have voices like mine and for helping bring all of these deeper conversations into the world because it's an honor, honestly, to stand alongside anybody, especially these incredible perspectives that we all have, and to contribute to something that's going to help so many people on their journey, whether they're starting it now, whether they're in the middle of it, whether they're, heading towards an ending or transition point. But in my chapter, I really just don't talk about my mission. I talk about our our mission because this chapter is really about us remembering why so many of us chose to incarnate on Earth in the first place during this exact time in human history. We're at a really crucial pivot point, and it explains like starseed origins and past lives and soul contracts, deeper missions that really are now activating or reactivating. I kind of want to say reactivating as the planet moves forward because we're going through so many energetic and cosmic shifts. So many people right now are being called, I feel like, to witness something bigger, step into something fully that they don't understand. And this is why they feel different. They're disconnected from old systems, or they feel driven to a deeper purpose that they just can't ignore anymore because it puts pressure on their nervous system. And this is why my chapter, it just kind of help like explain what they're feeling and what they're sensing. And it's not just random. This is a remembrance process when a species goes through these energetic shifts. So this has to do with the space weather and the solar activity that I talk about, and geomagnetic shifts, and then the like cosmic cycles that are ending and starting, which funny that you chose your book launch date on one of the most energetic days of the entire year. Like kudos to you that you sensed that and you put it in. And that's really interesting. So it's really to help everybody realign themselves with their soul again and to feel what is going to carry those memories and the wisdom beyond the lifetime that they know now. It's about recognizing really where you came from and why you're here with the missions you had. This is tied into awakening, healing. This is stabilization. Some people are grid workers, really guiding humanity through major evolutionary shifts that they've never done before. So my intention is whenever somebody reads my chapter, chapter 13, they don't just learn about me, they really recognize themselves and they begin to remember their own soul history, their own purpose, their own connection to a greater cosmic story that's unfolding right now. Because it's not just my story, like I said. It's a reminder that many of us are here together at the same time for a reason. So if you've ever felt really like your soul has never lived here before, well, it's because you're not entirely from here. You know, you're being called into something bigger now. And this chapter is really helping to remember who you are and why you came. So I'm trying to make those connections and hopefully they click. So if you haven't already, after this or during this, click off the screen, go over, purchase his book. You're not going to be shocked by the amount of crazy information that you're never going to get anywhere else. So thank you, Claudio. And I'll leave it to you guys. You guys do your thing.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
And along the same lines, she mentioned there is a question from those watching us. One advice from each guest, or in general, advice for a young generation that seems to be so depressed lately with everything happening in the world. So I will appreciate if one of you will think about this answer for the end while we're going to the next guest, which is Jessica coming from Texas.
Thank you, Claudiu. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here and, to just spend time with you and just to have the friendship with you that we've created. And I'm so overjoyed to be part of something so amazing. And can I just tell you, whoever gave you this idea to write out podcasts, oh my goodness, you guys, I'm not even a reader. I being that different person that, always kind of connected to the multi dimensions, can't focus on what's in front of me person, I hated to read. In fact, the very first thing I read was the Bible. And then I realized that it was spirit led. So it wasn't even my brain, me, it was really the spirit interpreting it for me. So I love sitting down and reading this. It is so amazing. It's such a different way to approach literature, but just to be part of something, I feel that collective connection, like we're all holding hands around the globe, So kudos to everybody that is part of this, the first, second, and third, book. So I'm just so grateful. My story is different, and I think it's going to touch people because I got activated through remembering who I was, because as I would touch people, I was taking on their stuff, and I could tell them exactly what they felt. And at the time I had finished massage school, but I hadn't yet gone into getting my license because I was afraid to, because I struggle with read and test anxiety, as I just said. So I was afraid I was going to fail it, but my chiropractor took me under his wing as an apprentice, and I started working on people. And every time I touched them, about 10 to 15, over 2 day span, and I was debilitated. My body would wake me up, purging both ends from 4 to 7 a.m. I was just trying to figure out why that was happening. And so that began the journey of remembering the massive energy manipulator, I guess, that I am. And I say manipulator in a good way. We often know that to be a very bad connotation, but it's an alchemist, right, of energy. And so changing the form of energy. And that began back in 2007 for me. My walk has been different. When I kind of got activated, my husband got shifted out of his frozen state and ended up in the mental hospital. We had 3 small children. And so I very sadly had to give up. It was a very kind of 2-month tumultuous thing. And he ended up not being able to work. And I had to kind of step into full-time massage work to take care of my family. And at that time, I really just relied on my relationship with God. That's the level of evolution I was at that time. And to get me through that, it was just me and the spirit. And I could see the energy leave people. And I started, my friend was like, well, you're an empath, you need to learn Reiki. And I'm like, what's an empath and what's energy and all that? So I went into that, and I was working with the full body when I was with 4 Reiki masters, and they're getting parts of the body. I was working with fire and they were working with bubbles. It was just, I was different and I didn't understand it, but I was getting full information. And so as my journey continued, my husband ended up, in the mental hospital, and it was either save my marriage and my 3 children that I had, we had created this family unit, or go into what I felt was the biggest soul calling of my life. I mean, that was the one thing I could lose myself in. And so I guess I'm saying all this to say that, so many people in the Christian faith have been taught to be so afraid of our power. And I've been trying to bridge science and spirituality, because unbeknownst to many of us, it was separated 400 to 500 years ago, and you couldn't even be a doctor if you were a Christian. And so it was the power was taken from us, and we became a form of godliness without power. And so my perspective with all of this so I went into the church full time. I threw everything out, the baby with the bathwater. And for 12 years, I activated people in spiritual gifts. But that's when I got the gift of tongues with interpretation. And fast forward in 2020, when I awoke in the twinkling of an eye and remembered who I was, and that I was never needed to be saved, and all these hell doesn't exist and all these things. I couldn't go back to the church, and my husband's still there. So we've had that dichotomy, but he relates energy, frequency, vibration, manifestation, all those words are evil. And so it's still very clear to me how many people are still lost. And when I say lost, it's they haven't found who they are yet, because the whole journey is remembering who you are. You are the one you've been looking for. And so I remember when I heard that for the first time, and I was like, whoa. And now it's just like, of course, like we just have this evolution, right? But I really ended up, after I awoke in 2020, I was entered into rest in January of 2020. What I mean by that is, on the inside of me, I sat down and I stopped striving. And by March, the whole world was in a rest. So it was like this double rest upon me. Then I got introduced to this whole parallel community that had been going on for 30 years, of people that were ascending into heavenly realms, which is within you. All of the existence is within you. And I was trying to go somewhere, but then I realized, oh, you got to embody it, go within and go up. And so there's just all these processes of my own. But you guys, I studied the Bible and the Word of God down to Hebraic level for many, many years. So I started to get activated in my consciousness through that Hebraic understanding and letters. So I can really, truly stand with the biggest Christians of all, and I can walk with them with the word, and I can show them how quantum Jesus was, and go beyond all that. But I feel like I am here to be a bridge for that. I think we're still in a place where there's a huge awakening that hasn't happened yet. I honestly believe this year is when we're all getting in place. We've been in preparation and we're getting in place, and I think next year is going to be a massive exodus, and people are going to need true-hearted people. There's a lot of fakes out there. There's a lot of people that are claiming one thing, but they're all talk and no action. And so we stand, our pure hearts are what separate us from the rest, and that pure light. And so I just want to say that once I got awakened, it was no longer doing energy work on people, because I realized I always went to them in the spirit anyway. So I started connecting to their field, remotely. And then it just became, I turned it into a business where I could help people. And what I knew intuitively, I was activating their dormant DNA. And I honestly, everything's been led intuitively, because I was not allowed to ever have a mentor. In Reiki, Jesus showed up and took over and said, I want to teach you myself. So from that point forward, I've always been taught by the spirit in the field. The field has taught me. And I've been blessed to have so many people around the world allow me to work with their field so I could learn more. And that caused my own expansion and collapse on myself, where I started working in greater light. So I'm very grateful for the gifting that we all have, it's truly a gift. I'm grateful that you're all here and that you're part of these books, because that shows your service to humanity at this time. It shows you've remembered why you signed up to be here, and it is a great mission. And you guys, we are just getting started. So kudos to all of you, bless you, and thank you, and just a warm welcome and thank you to everyone that made it this far to even see this, because that means they're awakening themselves and they're finding out who they are, and it's a beautiful journey. And I just wish you all so much grace and love for yourselves in the journey. So thank you for your time today. Thank you, Claudiu. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Jessica, and you can stay with us. We have two more contributors. So David is next. We met through a dear friend from Italy, and then I discovered his work through his books, which he wrote with a beautiful painted arrow. So David, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Claudiu, and thank you for bringing everybody together. It's great to be with such a great group of healers here. So, my path has been where I've been pulled into mainstream medicine and psychiatry, and other times kind of pulled out of mainstream kind of fields. So, I studied in medical school and psychiatry. I studied trauma psychotherapy, and then I went into energy healing for a while. And then I've worked in a number of different places. We moved to New Zealand and lived in New Zealand and worked with Maori people there, as well as, Pacific Islanders, and then moved back to Seattle. 2014, I met Joseph Rael, beautiful painted arrow. And since then, he and I worked very closely together. I was just publishing my first book, Rehumanizing Medicine. And then Joseph and I wrote 4 different books. And in the beginning, I was thinking I was just going to meet with Joseph and we'd write a book or just a chapter. I was working on a hero's journey workbook for veterans returning home from war. And after one day of meeting Joseph and taking some notes, the second day I said, "It seems like we've got a whole book here." And he said, "Yeah, that's what I was thinking." He's always very nonchalant. And so, 4 books later, we've been working together for, over 10 years. He's 90. He'll be 91 this year. So I was very honored and blessed to be able to work with him at the end of his career. And that kind of bridged, the fields of psychiatry and psychotherapy, as well as shamanism. And, I've subsequently gone through a journey with cancer, with melanoma. And during that time, I became certified as a yoga instructor when I was off work for a while, recuperating. And I've also been certified as an iRest meditation teacher. So I've done a lot of things. It's really a path of lifelong learning. And I'm always trying to figure out how I can bring ideas together, much like Claudiu, you're bringing all these wonderful people together here. So I'll just hand it back to you then. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you, David.
Oh,
So now,
one last
please go
thing.
ahead. Yeah.
So I sent a picture of the front, of the book and the first page to my friend Jonathan McFarland, who runs The Doctor as a humanist, and he was very taken by how you said something like, you're a psychiatrist, but what's wrong with you? You don't seem like a typical psychiatrist. And I said, no, it's more what's right with me. So Jonathan picked up on that. Now he's always going to ask me, what's wrong with you? So
yeah, I tried to open my interviews with a joke, and that was my joke for you. And now you guys see why I choose you, because you bring something new to what you are doing. And David brings so much new things, especially working with the beautiful painted arrow. And now, last but not least, and because she lives in Kauai right now, I think, Kristen, please, you have the floor.
You can hear me. Great. Thank you so much. I just want to share my total joy and appreciation of being here in this moment with you and all these beautiful people that are in your book. And one of the things that I'm so inspired by is how books can carry the energy separate from even like having to read the book. And what is so special about this book that you've created is that all of the wisdom and the varied frequencies that each of us have, each of our own levels of mastery, are collectively collected in this book. When I was younger, when I had a favorite book, I didn't always read it, that I would put the book under my pillow, because then I could dream with all the information that was there. So one of the many beauties of this book is that all of that information from all of us is in there, and that it's held in the gorgeous, loving embrace of you, of who you are, the sweetness that you are. So all of that is infused in this book. So I just wanted to say that first, and my total deep appreciation for you being interested in having me be part of it. So yeah, well, if I may share that with super short, what I have to offer in the world, who I am, is in direct relation to that question. So it's perfect. So I had an awakening in 2003, and the veils of the worlds and the dimensions dissolved for me. So I am lucidly seeing through all the layers, seeing through the suffering, seeing through people's consciousness, their souls, their karma, their DNA, their past lives, multiple timelines. The whole matrix is completely lucid and visible for me. And I haven't used plant medicines. I haven't used anything. It's all just pure consciousness. And so we're living at this extraordinary time where so much is possible. I'm just getting chills speaking, that we each are having greater access to the infinite totality that we each are. And so the depression can come from looking more at the surface. When you see the misery, the horror, the lies, the deception, all these horrifying things that are happening. But if you imagine, or if you can think of a time when you were hurting inside and you didn't really realize it, and someone you dearly loved came up and hugged you, and you burst out crying because the love came, that's what's happening on the planet. Is that the frequencies are intensifying. There is so much love, there is so much light that is coming towards the planet, that all of these atrocities that are coming forward are like the tears that burst out when you're being loved. And so in terms of the depression, I would invite you to look inside, or get this book, and see all the different ways that each of us have found that truth in the inside, the way that truth opened up inside us and guided us uniquely. So the depression has a quality of sinking heaviness and can build on itself. So it can sometimes take a concerted effort on your part to make that shift. But you are God, you are Goddess, you are Source. You have in you what it takes to find that truth and make that shift. And you can ask for help. You can ask for help from any of the people in this book. You can ask for help from Claudiu. You can pray. You can ask for support from God, Jesus, Buddha, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Ganesh, whoever it is that you have that deep relationship towards. So I would just say in conclusion that the times we're in, it's what we came here for. We came here for this. And the level of transformation is extraordinary. So I would just offer that, and my story is just an awakening of surrendering through and seeing all these layers and seeing what's possible, and supporting people through those layers of depression or fear or trauma, or just their own spiritual path, to see a deeper truth on the inside and dissolve the conditioning and the blocks and the karma and the collective conditioning, to support that transformation on the inside out. So yeah, my gift was not only being able to see all that, but to actually alchemize it, transform it, to support people's rapid evolution. So I'm kind of like an evolution accelerator, and work with a massive team of 10,000 light beings to help support you and all of us, each of us here in these times. There's so much support that's here. So if you're depressed, I would say open up and look around for all the amazing support that is here to help you awaken and remember who you are, so that you're adding your light to the journey and your light to life and the whole unfolding, and that you're not getting swept in the denser lower layers, but for you to step into holding the torch of light and truth and love and infinite possibility and transformation.
Thank you very much, Kristen. Thank you to all of you for this amazing night, for supporting this project. Will spread the word for people to be able to get the benefits from this collection of interviews. And yes, if you still have it, let's show it one more time for those who have it nearby. Thank you. Thank you very much. Much love from me. And to those which watch us online, thank you to you too. And as I usually conclude every single interview, until next time, love and gratitude.